Welcome back to Studio F. We're on Fast Times Willy B. We're reviewing They Live. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell!
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got Mo with me. Mo, how we doing?
I'm doing really good, and I got a special message from one Dan Hassig
Love
in
it.
regards to today's episode.
Okay.
Ran this by you. I knew you loved it. Told him we were doing this, and he said, looking forward to your episode. I hope you'll be doing the review in the nude so we can see your Willy D. Cue Russ.
Oh,
Shout
man.
out Dan Hassig.
Love it. Love it. Not in the nude.
Not in the nude, yeah.
Unless you're wearing goggles that make me nude, but
But no, this one we'll be
That's-
seeing our
that's-
true skin.
those would be pretty crazy goggles. But today, we stepping back to 1988. This week's poll winner is They Live. Actually, pretty surprised this won the poll. Not because of how I feel about this movie. And we'll talk about it. I like this movie quite a bit. But I didn't know what kind of reception it would get in the poll when it's going up against, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space came in second. I didn't realize that would get that much votes too. I really thought that Rain Man would and Beetlejuice are two, I feel like more recognizable,
Yeah.
more talked about by people. So I thought one of those two would run away with it. And when they got third and fourth, I was like, I like my following.
I like the crowd that I've
I like
brought
my
in.
voters.
Yeah, I remember when I saw the poll, I voted for They Live, and I
Yeah.
told you I was like, I feel like this needs to win. And when I first voted, it was winning by quite a bit.
Mhm.
And then I checked back on it, and I was like, oh my god, it was tied with Killer Clowns, and I thought that's gonna be nuts, but it's probably gonna go to Killer Clowns. Then you told me that They Live ended up winning, and I saw the post too, and I was like, hell yeah.
Let's ride.
Yeah.
Yes, director-wise, we've got one of the greatest, John Carpenter. Love that guy.
One of the best.
He is one of the masters of horror, and he's in his element with this one as well. Cast-wise, the big two is definitely Rowdy Roddy Piper from wrestling fans may know who that is, and then we've got Keith David, who appears in a couple John Carpenter movies, and I love him every time he does.
Yeah.
We'll start with the good, and we kind of talked briefly before clicking record, and we both kind of agreed that most of this video will be in this category. So.
Oh yeah, I like I said, if there even is the parts of meh or bad, gonna be like next to none.
Yeah.
This movie is so good, kicks ass, such a great time that, like you said, we're gonna mostly be in the good. We're gonna be comfortable here in the good.
Lounging.
Yeah.
No, it's, for me, the biggest good in this film is easily just the message that is being pushed here, that the government is these
Controlling, yeah.
aliens in control, and you see what they want you to see until you get an awesome pair of shades that allow you to see past the lies. And I feel like now in the generation we live in, there's much more conspiracies in that realm. Back then, I don't know what it was like, but to make a movie about it was probably pretty bold, and I think John Carpenter made just about as good of a movie about that conspiracy as you can.
Yeah, and I was going to say, for the time that this came out and how big of a conspiracy the movie has, this definitely changed some people's lives.
Oh, for
some
sure.
dudes probably went from 9 to 5, normal working, to then immediate doomsday preparing, bunker building kind of men after this movie.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, is that for the time when it came out, it had such an impact on like culture and like just, I would say, conspiracy theories and like free thought.
Do you think sunglasses sales went up after this movie?
Oh, absolutely.
People were trying to find the golden sunglasses that would show you the truth.
Yeah. It's either people were doing that or they just were wanting them so they can look as cool as they did in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which I feel like now, if you look up photos like after the movie, there's got to be just crowds and hordes of people just wearing sunglasses, where it's easier to spot who isn't
Yeah.
than who is wearing sunglasses.
For sure. But yeah, it's just one of those movies where you're talking about the concept, the plot, and what they're tackling is probably the biggest good. But like I mentioned, I always enjoy Keith David. I enjoyed Roddy Piper. I think the acting is also in the good.
Mhm.
It's once again we kind of talked with it, and some other movies we've talked about. It's nothing that's gonna bring home an Academy Award, but God, Roddy Piper is just the right guy for that role.
Yeah,
like I don't think the movie would be the same without him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's just from wrestling, and of course, he's just rugged. He's built
Yeah.
so, and all the beat downs that he takes in this movie, just take him like a champ. Him and Frank's dynamic in the movie is so good.
Yes.
Especially during the alley fight scene.
Oh my
when he's trying to
gosh.
get him to finally put on the glasses. I love that scene
Best scene in the
so
movie.
much because it drags out for so long, but it's so good. It doesn't drag out to where it's like it's dreadful.
Yeah.
And especially the fact that like Frank just keeps going, okay, I'm gonna help you out, or okay, I'll hear
Knees
you
him in the
out, and then he
forehead.
just immediately like just punches him back or knees him,
Yeah.
and it's so good. And I thought it was kind of funny in that scene where how he has the bottle and then Roddy has the like piece of wood and he bashes in the back of that car's windshield. He says, "I'm sorry." That's not his car.
I know.
What are you saying sorry
I think
for?
it kind of took him over. Like, oh my gosh, I'm swinging a 2x4 at who is my only friend.
Yeah.
So I think it was more of the realization than him smashing in the car window. But
I always-
it is funny.
Yeah. I always thought that
It's
was
just
funny.
it's a buck wild scene. You get suplex, you get almost a cock shot, but Keith David goes, "You dirty," and then he gets the
Yeah.
headbutt to the jaw. Like, oh, that would hurt so bad. But it's a brawl.
Oh yeah.
Thrown into some brick walls.
And people are walking up and down the street, like on the sidewalk, and they don't see these two dudes.
They're probably just like, look at these two hobos.
Yeah, and they're just fighting and going about. But yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes, and the quotes in this movie,
Very
some of the
quotable
most, some of the best ones.
What's your favorite quote in the movie?
My favorite quote in the movie is, and it's probably going to be like a lot of people's, but when he walks into the bank, like how he unexpectedly walks into the bank, how he just says, "I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm out of bubblegum."
Yeah,
But it's
that's
kind
a great one.
But it's kind of a contender with how he spots one of them in the corner, and he just hears them like saying on their watch like, he's 30 years old, blonde hair, male, mid-height, and he's just like, "Mama don't like tattletales."
Yeah.
That one's kind of
Same
up there
scene.
for me. Yeah.
I like the end of the fight. Probably my favorite quote is when he goes, "Life is a bitch, and she is in heat."
Yeah. Another quote that I just told you before we started that I do really like is when they finally get into the news broadcast building and there's the big like dinner hall and everything, the speaker, how he specifically says that by our projections into the year 2025, we should have control of not just the US, but over the entire planet with the power of the Domain Alliance. And I just love that quote because of it being 2025.
We're here.
Yeah, we're here. And that's just a little like nod that I love.
That's
I love
cool.
when they quote into the future.
It's
And-
like when Back to the Future 2 and we hit 2015, everybody was like, "Oh, we're
yeah, they're
here."
like, "Where's our flying cars?"
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
were still watching like Vine and
Yeah.
everything, so we were nowhere near there,
Yep.
and we're nowhere near what they probably
As
had
far
in
as we
mind.
know.
Yeah, that's true.
We could be the last two.
These might be defective.
We could be the last two
We could.
that haven't been taken over. Let us know in the comments if you've been taken over.
Let us know.
But no, another a good one too is when he's just laying it into the lady in the convenience store, and he's like, "Formaldehyde face," and like, "That's enough
Yeah.
from you, buddy."
Yeah.
But he's just like pouring it onto this old lady, like, "You look normal. You're fucking ugly."
Yeah, like I love that part. That one's my favorite. And then I do love in that scene as well as once she like immediately just goes, "I think he can see us," and then she starts calling it in, and everybody else in the store just starts walking towards him, talking on like the watch. If anything, whoever they're reporting to, I would have been annoyed having that many call-ins at the same time about the same dude. It's like, hold on, there's 15 people at the same time trying to call in. all about it. One guy.
Yeah.
I got the first one. I don't need all the other ones.
Yeah, once he discovers what the sunglasses do with the guy at the newsstand, like the magazine stand,
Yeah.
He just goes on a rampage, and from there, dude, this movie really takes off for me, and it's a hell of a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a fun watch.
It really is. What another part of the good that I really liked, even though we talked about it, but in the alley scene fight between him and Frank, I do really love the like choreographing they did for that fight.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just simple like punches and all that. They were doing over the top.
Yeah.
And they were doing great stuff, almost like in a ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. I also love the set design in this movie. Obviously we get, the construction site and the homeless stuff and the alleys and the big city, but mostly when the sunglasses are on with like the billboards and like obviously the one says obey and the one's the girl on the beach and it says like make love or not make love but like
marry and reproduce.
Marry and reproduce, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know, I thought that was cool how like each sign was different and
yeah.
I don't know, and then props too. I mean like the little spy plane gadget drone thing was cool. I don't know, there was just a lot in this movie that like for 88 I was like, man, John Carpenter is just always doing his thing, man.
Yeah, the graphics and everything, especially with the portal when the watch goes defective in the alley, when they get raided and how that portal shows up. I'm like, that is a really clean like design for it. That was really nice. And going back to like the sky drone, the like sky Roomba that they have when it captures on him, how we get to see from its eye and how it has the menus and stuff. To me, I immediately thought of a like early 2000s DVD menu.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, are you telling them where I'm at?
Yeah.
And then pulls the shotgun up. I do love that, like, obviously this movie, you're following the perspective of our main character, and so you see that he's doing good. But you have Keith David who's like, how many people have you killed? But you get to see, like, for instance, when the cop comes around, he's like, drop it. He sees that it's a normal human. He's like, get out of here. Like, he's not going on a rampage and just killing anybody. He's really trying to save the world, which I think is another just cool little piece that the outside world doesn't see, but you as the watcher, you get to see this guy. He's really the hero of the film.
Yeah, kind of touching back on that cop scene where it's the human that he sees, how he tells him to put his gun down. It's not a good quote, I would say. It's a weird quote, but how when he finally drops his gun and he tells him, beat your feet.
Yeah.
Telling him to get it. Yeah, I'm like, what does that... What?
I might start using that.
Yeah, I was gonna... If I was that cop and I heard that, I wouldn't have started to run. I would have just looked at him and probably gone, huh?
If the dogs aren't going upstairs and I'm going upstairs, beat your feet. Get up there.
There you go. Now I'm going to hear that for like the next 2 weeks from you.
Yeah.
Anytime I leave your house, all right, I'm going on.
We'll play basketball tonight and somebody's not moving. Beat your feet, man.
Beat your feet, come on. Another good thing that I really loved about this is kind of how they like brought on the importance of the message. Like at first when we kept seeing the like broadcasts of like, you guys gotta realize what's going on. Everybody just kept like, not caring for it, and they're like, who cares about these broadcasts? And then when the police finally show up to the church and everything, and they start like, they bring in this whole like riot control and everything. I love that. I was like, that's kind of showing emphasis to like the viewer that this is not like some like background kind of issue or anything like that. It's the main point.
Yeah.
And it needs to be uncovered that badly because, I mean, they just have those broadcasts in here and right away they bring out a bulldozer and riot gear and all that stuff, which still kind of upsets me that I really thought the first time the bulldozer was going to take down the church, but instead it just takes down the camp next to it, which I think is weird. It's a weird choice kind of, but if they did do the church, then he may have never found the glasses because he went back to find them in the panel. Yeah. And that church, one thing I'll say that was really cool they had a really clean reel-to-reel player in there. Yeah. Yeah, when they were using that to mimic the like choir and everything. I think I paused it when I watched it earlier and I said,
how can I get that?
I was like, that I know where to get them. They're just expensive, but that one was super clean. Yeah. I think it was a Technics one too, and I was like, oh my God. But that's another part of the good for me.
Yeah.
And then kind of as well as the ending.
Oh, the entire third act is for sure in the good.
Yeah, especially of how, like, movies today, if it was a plot like this, they wouldn't just settle with the ending that we got. They would want to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
They would want him to go to where these people are, stop their entire plan and destroy them. But in this one, the ending, it's satisfying enough that just get the word out, just expose them for being there, and that's it. He doesn't have to go on some intergalactic, multi-dimensional
Yeah.
trip to stop them at the source of it. He just needs to expose them, and that's all it'll do.
Yep.
And that's what I love.
We get an awesome newsroom showdown on the roof. We get a little bit of betrayal.
Oh yeah.
Which is sad. But yeah, it's a great ending. And you kind of pointed it out too when we were talking about, like, after he does what he is intending to do, and we get to see some of the real world, like,
Reaction.
exposure.
Yeah.
Those are really good too.
I do love those, and that's why I really love the ending too, especially because we get to see, like, from all perspectives, like, not just one person seeing them or like one major shot. We get to see different scenarios of them being exposed, like how we have the bar scene, how people see it on the TV and they're like, there's something weird going on with them, where even the, like, people in the newsroom, you saw how after the satellite went out, there's some of the news crew where they go, oh my god, you're so ugly,
Yeah.
let's get makeup, and they're trying to, like, fix their faces because they think something just randomly happened to them and they need to. But the bar scene, then there's the guy who's sitting there and he's watching the screen, completely unaware that everyone else is looking at him because he's exposed.
Yeah.
All the signs around showing, like, especially how we talked about that last scene, that sex scene where she's on the guy, she watches the TV and sees it, and then she notices that the, like, paintings and stuff in the rooms all say those, like, just white and black text, and then looks down on what I assume is her husband, hopefully, and and she sees that he's ugly as hell, and he goes, "What's wrong, baby?"
Boom.
And then just cuts. Perfect.
Love
That's
it.
all we need.
All we need. It's sweet and simple.
Yeah.
It gets what you want across. It's a good ending. Almost a bittersweet ending, obviously, with,
Yeah.
But man, what a movie.
I do agree. I love that. And I was going to say how the fun fact that I told you about before, where we don't really know Roddy Piper's character's name. We don't know his name until the end where it's credited.
Yeah.
And after I watched it, I even looked it up to make sure. I was like, did I miss it somewhere? Like, did I turn around or did I, like, zone out? But I was like, no, they don't say his character name at all. Frank and all of them, when they go talk to him, they just go up to him directly and talk to him, or they point at him.
Yeah.
But they don't say his name, and he's only named in the credits, which is just nada. But I think that's all it is in the good for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's most of this movie's in the good. Score is in the good. It's got that very, like, lower class rugged score to it, almost like almost a hint of Western to it, if you know what I'm talking about. But it's so good, as most of Carpenter's movies do have a good score, especially when he's the one doing it.
And if I like the one in the start, in the very opening scene, where they kind of show the wall of graffiti and you see They Live, which is another nod that I love. Usually there's graphics or stuff to show the name, but this one it's spray painted on the wall and you expect it to go away, but it doesn't. And then it just pans to him walking across the, like, railroad tracks. But I love the score in that one. It's so good.
A lot of good in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Anything else for you?
I think that'll do it for the good for me.
Okay.
I think I'm good on that.
So we'll hop over to the meh. And I don't have anything in the bad. The only thing I'd probably put in the meh is the pacing that we get in the first act. It is a little bit of a slow burn there for the first half-ish hour. But again, once you find those sunglasses, and once you start, not even once you find the sunglasses, once you start to catch on to what's going on, like the scene where they're watching the TV and the priest is like mouthing what he's saying, like, and you start catching on to that, that's when it really starts to pick up. But when it's like just the construction stuff at first, you're like, okay,
Like,
but
let's pick up. Come on.
But that's really it.
Yeah.
And I I don't know if I have anything else.
I was gonna say I'll agree on that. You described it perfect. I don't have any more to add on to the pacing in the first act. But another kind of thing for me, and this just might be me personally, is Holly's line delivery in like the movie. Like when she speaks, it's so lifeless. I don't know if it's intended to be like that or not. I feel like it is because, you know, she tries to stop him at the end. So I don't know if she's intending to, but because she's not one of them. She's a human, but then it just thinks of like, what's her motive? Like, what's her motive too?
Yeah. I always thought maybe since she works in the newscast, she's in on it, but she's like a human correspondence. I don't know.
Yeah, but her delivery and lines, like the most life.
That's why she shoves them out a window, and she maybe attends that meeting and is the one that leaks that they're there. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why like the most life I notice out of her is when she does throw him out the window, where she does a 360 hit with the bottle and then push out the window. Yeah, I was like, that's insane. You know, most people would just do right there, but to do the full 360 to get the momentum, and then when she shoots Frank at the end, I was like, those are the most human traits I've seen you exhibit in this movie. Other than that, the way you talk, no, it doesn't sell it for me. Or how she goes flying during the meeting when she's trying to talk to him, and then it just the random explosion. Yeah. Then that's pretty much it in the meh for me. I don't have anything in the bad.
Yeah. So we can hop over to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with They Live, and what do you give it out of 10?
It's a classic. Definitely need to watch. I mean, pretty much anything John Carpenter does, you think is a classic. There's some where I think you can definitely pass over compared to others, but this I feel is in like the top rank of must watch from him.
I haven't watched his entire catalog, but I've watched most of it. And I don't think I've disliked the movie yet.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Is like there's somewhere like, you know, they're not gonna be bad. They're not bad, but there's somewhere like if you don't see it, you're not missing out. Yeah, they're not as good as others, or you're not missing out on a whole bunch. But this is definitely one of the ones where it's like if you're gonna go down that rabbit hole of like what he has out, that's got to be there for you at the top, because everything of it just does it in. It's so good. Yeah,
this one might be top 5 for me. My top 3 Carpenter is definitely Halloween, The Thing, and The Fog.
Beautiful.
Love all 3 of those movies. Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. This one might be 4 or 5 though. It's high. I do really enjoy They Live, but what are you gonna score it?
I'm going to score this a 9.2 out of 10. I'm
going 9 out of 10. So
okay, we're pretty close.
Yeah, we're on par with each other. I think it's a fantastic film. If the opening was a little
rough,
slow. If it was a little faster, or maybe a little tweaked, this could be in the ranks with The Fog, Halloween, and The Thing for me. Yeah. But it's not far off. This is like I said, it's a really cool movie made about an interesting conspiracy that's probably been around as long as government's been a thing. I mean, there's probably always been somebody that's like, the government's out to get us.
As long as Big Brother's been there.
Yeah, so it's a conspiracy that was probably tough to tackle, but if anybody's gonna do it, it's the man John Carpenter. So
absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, definitely a great watch. Thank you guys for voting in. I'm glad I got to talk about this film because I really didn't think it had a chance at winning, but I'm glad it did.
And you get to see this special cool version of Fast Times with these and the effect.
You get to see the real version.
Yeah.
Make sure you consume. Fast Times Willy B.
I wonder whose idea that was.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I said I wanted my verbal credit.
Thank you, Mo, for the incredible idea. But that'll do it for They Live. Mo, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. And make sure you stick around. Mo's going to be here all week for some Mo Mania, as we've got 6 Final Destination movies coming your way.
Yep.
He's also going to be on for Hurry Up Tomorrow, and then obviously he's here right now for They Live. So an 8-movie week for Mo. It's going to be some fun.
So stay tuned.
Yes, we'll be back very soon. Talk to you later. Peace.